Shalom. Shalom and welcome. Welcome to End Time Unity Protocols, Checks and Balances. If you're tuning in for the first time, my name is Symmanayah, and this is the 15th installment of this series. Its focus is to bring attention to pointers and signs as it relates to history now and our future. I say again, shalom and welcome to you. If you are one who seeks to do the will of the Almighty Father, I consider you my brother or my sister. These are the words I'm compelled to present to an awakening, set-apart nation, to the children of the Most High Yahuah. In Yahusha's name I come. Yasharal, set apart Yasharal, these are indeed end times, and for such a time as this, we will discover that there is much work to be done in order to fulfill what is necessary regarding the 144,000 Hebrews and great multitude mentioned in Revelation 7th chapter. As I stated, this installment is about pointers and signs as they relate to history now and our future. Know this, O set apart children of the Most High, there are beginnings and there will be endings. End times are labeled such because there will be a time where we will face the ultimate judgment day before the Almighty Father Yahuah, representing the end of life as we know it in these earthen vessels. In this installment, I want you to realize, O Yasharal, direction comes from the Almighty Father. Living instructions come, for the Almighty Father sent his set-apart spirit in Yahusha's name. I reference often John 14:26. I will, in this installment, emphasize and re-emphasize the need to walk in wisdom towards those that are without, redeeming the time, to walk in wisdom regarding history, now and our future. Let me read the following, O Yasharal. Malachi 3:6 says, For I am Yahuah, I shall not change, and you, O sons of Yaakov, shall not come to an end. James 1:17 says, Every good gift and every perfect gift is from above, coming down from the Father of lights, with whom there is no change, no shadow of turning. My brothers and sisters, many people fail to realize that in growth and progression, there's a degree of change. But as it relates to the Almighty Father's plan, his plan has not changed for Yasharal. It would be wise for us to know what is being said in the scriptures when they say there is no change, that the Most High does not change. For all too often, I have witnessed individuals use these words erroneously. But I want to read the scripture that tells us, that informs us to walk in wisdom. I've read it before. I'll read it again, for it is still applicable to this day. That's Colossians 4:5. It says, walk in wisdom toward those who are outside, redeeming the time. Redeeming the time. Yasharal, my brothers and sisters, do we not believe the scriptures are a reflection of our history, complete with instructions for remembering, worshiping, and obeying now, as well as moving forward and drawing closer to He who is the Almighty One? In other words, do not the scriptures speak of history? Do we not also find instructions for now? And are there prophecies for our future, regarding our future? What has happened, O Yasharal, is that though we have a history, and we are awakening to that history, to the truth, many are becoming so focused on history that there's neglect for now, discerning what the Spirit of the Almighty Father is saying to us now. Many are even disregarding the future, pushing it further into the future, with disbelief that we may not be in the end times. To disregard the realities of truth, my brothers and sisters, among the set-apart children is the fruit of one's unbelief. We must believe that the Most High clearly opened our eyes and ears, if not us individually, someone among the set-apart children of Yahuah. Eyes are open to the things that matters regarding our future, as well as regarding what should be done now. You see, so many people talk about Torah, and due to erroneous teaching, it is believed that it's just the first 5 books of Moshe, or Musha, or Moses, or Moshe. But Torah is indeed the living word from the Almighty Father. Sure, we see that there were instructions given to Moses, or Musha, that represents living instructions from the Almighty Father. But it didn't stop there, nor did it begin there. For there were those who came before Moses, and there are those who come after. And there will be others who will come. You see, my brothers and sisters, Torah means instructions. One could say laws. One could even say rules. Look at the function. It is something that is said by the Almighty Father, and when he speaks, life comes, and all that pertains to life is emitted for those who obey him. Let me read the following, my brothers and sisters. Matthew 24:2-3 says, And Yahusha said to them, Do you not see all these? Truly I say to you, not one stone shall be left here upon another at all, which shall not be thrown down. And as he sat on the Mount of Olives, the taught ones came to him separately, saying, Say to us, when shall this be? And what is the sign of your coming and of the end of the age? As we can see, there were taught ones, or in some will say disciples, asking about what are the signs of what is to be. We see that also question a note of a time when they were questioning the Mashiach in Luke 21:7, and they asked him, saying, Teacher, but when shall this be, and what is the sign when this is about to take place? As you can see, my brothers and sisters, there come times for asking questions regarding what is to be expected in the coming days. What is to be expected? So how do we begin to get the knowledge that is necessary for us to govern ourselves in worship and obedience to the Most High? It begins with fearing the Almighty Father Yahuah. Proverbs 1:7 says, The fear of Yahuah is the beginning of knowledge. Fools despise wisdom and discipline. I have witnessed individuals who are outspoken, who may consider themselves morais, who do consider themselves morais, or teachers, or bishops. I have witnessed individuals quick to reject the discipline from the Most High. Individuals who despise the wisdom from the Most High and his discipline. And they reject those who are led by his Spirit, sometimes knowingly, sometimes unknowingly. When they don't understand, instead of falling on their knees or instead of seeking to discern and understand, I have witnessed many individuals who consider themselves teachers, morais, bishops, and pastors and shepherds reject the obedient messages that come from the Almighty Father, to whom he chooses to speak. Let us not be fools, my brothers and sisters. Let us embrace the wisdom and the discipline necessary to receive the knowledge from the Almighty Father as a result of our fear for him. You see, my brothers and sisters, when we fear the Most High and seek to walk according to his Spirit, we'll come to understand why it's important to walk filled with the Spirit, as mentioned in Ephesians 5:18-21. We not only see the importance of being filled with the Spirit, but we see the importance of subjecting ourselves one to another. For the Most High may use the other to speak to us, or he may use us to speak to another. This discipline comes as a result of those discerning the words of the Almighty Father and knowing when to be quiet and when to speak. Balance, my brothers and sisters. I pray that you're able to discern the life in the scriptures I just read, that I just spoke of. I pray that you can see the need to walk in wisdom and redeem the time, for end times are indeed here. I also pray that each of us understand the need to be filled with the Spirit of Yahusha, to understand what it is to receive the knowledge that he gives us and how to effectively manage that knowledge, to avoid being puffed up, to avoid being distracted. Make no mistake, my brothers and sisters, as we begin to understand what was, what is, and what is to be as it relates to our history, now, and our future, we will see the perfecting of the saints as promised by the Almighty Father. Make no mistake, O set apart ones, drawn by Abba Yahuah to Yahusha HaMashiach, we will experience discipline. We will see the fruit of his judgment upon his children to bring about the correctness that is necessary to produce the unity, the glue that will hold us together and cause the world to witness the emergence of the 144,000 in great multitude. We will grow to know when to research history, seek to discern the things pertaining to now, and what we must prepare to do regarding our future. Yasharal, I believe without any doubts that there are those chosen to make known our history. I also believe that there are those chosen to deliver words critical for our worship and obedience, as well as teachings for now. In addition, make no mistake, the Almighty Father does not change. Just how he interacted with people in times past, we will witness proof of his presence and interactions among us now, and giving us all the instructions that we need as it relates to our future. My brothers and sisters, end times are and will prove to be growing intense with each passing moment in the coming of days. Make no mistake, extreme humbling times have begun, and they will reach our door. For in order to gather a set-apart nation from the four corners of the earth, there must be discipline, there must be movement, and there will be the demonstration of his power, his might, that will bring about the movement of his children. In spite of our stiff neck and stubbornness, the promises of the Most High cannot and will not be distorted to the point where they will prevent his ways from coming to be. Make no mistake, during these intense times, my brothers and sisters, people will look for refuge. There will come a time, I believe even among Yasharal right now, brothers and sisters, spirits are stirring. The Spirit of Yahusha is stirring us to think about community living, about coming closer together. And some of us out of that stirring are jumping the gun or moving prematurely. Some of us are looking for the first thing that closely resembles community living, and we're jumping into it without asking questions of when, how, where, and what leadership should we yield to, or if we are indeed being called to lead. You see, my brothers and sisters, as the Spirit of Yahusha stirs within us, the enemy always want to cut it off. He always wants us to take it and be deceived, thinking that we'll be as the Almighty One if we just take it and run with it. No, my brothers and sisters, our spirits are stirring regarding community living because the Most High is saying it's time to start moving closer to one another. It's time to start paying attention. Move when he say move, and know where to move. There are some who will expense their time, their money, their resources to moving into communities that will be destroyed in the coming days. There are some who are told to build temporary communities, and they will say this is temporary until such time as we are drawn by the Almighty Father. But most are talking about and emphasizing these different communities and getting some land to get out of Babylon, so to speak. Many are saying that without regards to how long will they be there? How long will that community exist? Is it to exist until such a time as movement for the fulfillment of the final Exodus, the gathering from the four corners of the earth? Is it to exist until the final destruction, like the last place for those who are not gathered, but who are told to be the last echoing sounds of set apartness before the wicked? Is it a place that will be the place where set apart ones that are not gathered will face final destruction? If so, where are the teachings, O Yasharal? Where are the teachings of preparing to face death, physical death, but yet rejoice in that time, knowing that the Almighty Father's plan is coming into reality. Yes, there will be those of us who will face physical death. There will be those of us who will be martyrs for Yahusha's name. My brothers and sisters, with so much work ahead of us, the time is now to ask ourselves, what pointers, what signs are going before us, pointing us in the right direction of what we're supposed to do, on how much time should be focused on history, how much time should be allotted for now, discerning what we are to be doing now, how much time is to be expensed regarding our future. The time is now to examine ourselves, my brothers and sisters. Many of us fail to realize that if we are out of balance, if we're focusing too much on history, it consumes the time that is necessary to think about, to discern, to respond to what must be done now. Many people are focused on latter-day prophecy, end-time prophecy, again, ignoring what should be done now. There are those who have the convictions to deliver history, and so there are those who decide they want to get on that bandwagon, and that's what they're supposed to be doing. There are those who think that we should just be talking about now and ignore history and want everybody to talk about now. This is not so, and it should not be so. There are those who will talk about just end-time prophecies. There must be balance, my brothers and sisters. Whatever conviction one have, let us see where it connects. Let us see where history connects to now and now connects to our future. Believe it or not, my brothers and sisters, whether we're looking at history now or in the future, there are uncertainties from every angle. This is why it's important to learn, to study, to grow, to seek to discern and respond with accuracy to the Spirit of the Almighty Father. Make no mistake, my brothers and sisters, the strength of the meaning behind Hebrews 12 and Revelation 3:19 that speaks on discipline, the strength of these words will become crystal clear in the coming of days. Discipline is necessary for the rise of the 144,000 in great multitude, who will emerge clearly in the coming of days. It will not be something that will pop up in an instant. My brothers and sisters, let us receive discipline. Let us receive the judgment that the Most High speaks of when he spoke of in 1 Peter 4:17, which informs us how judgment begins at the house of the Almighty Father. You see, my brothers and sisters, the realities of what's before us are unfolding. Yasharal, oh Yasharal, if we're able to discern how the word from the Spirit of Yahusha is alive, and that through life comes connectivity, endless instructions, a flow of instructions to improve our worship and knowledge before the Almighty Father, our worship and obedience, it would be wise to realize that as he makes the scriptures alive, we will see and begin to witness more how the Spirit of the Most High is working in us, through us, how we will subject ourselves one to another, as mentioned earlier in Ephesians 5:21. So much work to be done, O Yasharal. Are we ready? My brothers and sisters, it is written that Yahusha HaMashiach is the bread of life. It is also mentioned in the scriptures that we live by the word of Abba Yahuah, and I'm referencing Deuteronomy 8:3. Individuals who study and are able to discern the life in the scriptures will discover that water is sometimes used to represent the word of Abba Yahuah. And I say to you, my brothers and sisters, the life by the words of the Almighty Father requires connectivity. It requires the flow like an endless river. And connectivity, what I mean by that, my brothers and sisters, I have witnessed individuals when they're teaching, they'll say one thing and forget that something else is in the scripture that is different. Judgment is one of those. There are times to judge and there are times we are not to judge. And this requires leaning on the voice of the Spirit of Yahusha to know when what is applicable. You see, my brothers and sisters, there's a time where jealousy is a good thing. There's a time when jealousy is a bad thing. How do we discern the difference Again, leaning on the Spirit of Yahuah. You see, the enemy wants us to take the scriptures just like we're eating the fruit in the garden, just like what Eve and Adam did. The enemy wants us to just eat the scriptures and say we'll be as the Almighty One, when we are to listen to what instructions the Almighty One has given and lean on that, and always lean on him, not take the scriptures and run with it thinking that, well, that's the book. That's what it says, the book. Many people are putting the book before Yahuah. Many people have no problems admitting these days, as we are awakened, that the book has been tampered with. They have replaced Yahuwah's name with Lord and words like God. Many people see where they have tried to eliminate the descriptions that talk about who Yasharal is. In some cases, there are books that have been left out. We know man has tampered with it, and we see even in the new illustrations, the new publications of scriptures, where somebody may have left something out, or their interpretation may differ from the other. We see where a new month, and new moon has been interchangeably used. We see mistakes, my brothers and sisters. And we who are awakened, we who are learned, to an extent that we are able to see that man has tampered with the text. But yet there are many people quick to say, show me the scriptures in the book, thinking that it ends with the text, that the text is the be-all answer. Are we not aware that we have different literacy skills? One's ability to read and comprehend differs from another. But it is the Almighty Father, Yahuah, who sent his set-apart spirit and used his name to teach us and guide us. And in these teachings, we will discover there are pointers, there are signs that direct us in the direction we must go. Yasharal, oh Yasharal. When we're out of balance, our focus has become weighted down and can lead to much pain and regret. In the coming days, as we find ourselves disciplined and refined, we will discover being renewed. We will discover embracing behaviors that are necessary to bring about balance as it relates to our history, now, and our future. My brothers and sisters, timing is a critical component to our walk. Focus is equally important. Believe it or not, when we overstep our boundaries by looking too long at a matter, looking at history, spending too much time just looking at history, our necks are churned, and therefore we are looking back. How then can we be fit to obey the Most High if we busy focus on history? Once we have learned and understand, my brothers and sisters, once we have discovered, we do not need to continue looking back more so than being mindful of what is to expect looking forward. Are we not aware that Yahusha Mashiach informed us of such? Are we not aware of the life in Luke 9:62 where Yahusha said, no one having put his hand to the plow and looking back is fit for the reign of the Almighty One? You see, as we press forward, my brothers and sisters, that was Luke 9:62. As we press forward, there are things that sure we will learn. Who among us have ever given thought that if the Most High wanted us to know every detail of our history, then the books of the scriptures would be much thicker, more weightier from a physiological, from a natural perspective. You see, the Most High gave us the history that he wants us to know. And he reveals to us the history that we should be mindful of. But there's so much work for now. There's so much work in supporting and building up the body of Yasharal, set apart Yasharal. There's so much work ahead of us regarding now and our future. The scriptures instruct us to teach and guide the children and to set apartness, to pass teachings, instructions, and demonstrate actions passed down from generation to generation. Another way of describing this is legacy building. Are we not aware that our forefathers sacrificed much for us, and that we are now required to sacrifice for those who are coming after us? Are we demonstrating? Are we teaching? Are we walking in unity? Are we walking in set apartness to the point that our children are able to see the rudiments of set apartness, to see set apartness, the dynamics of walking in obedience to the Almighty Father? My brothers and sisters, each of us have different convictions, and these convictions will connect. And as they connect, they will form the body of Yasharal. Let us not try to emulate or replicate others' convictions, but let us look at, if my conviction is different from yours, where do they connect? What position do they have within the body of Yasharal? Case in point, there are many that want to be called mores. There are many that would rather be called bishops, even apostles. There are many that will rather be in one position when the Most High may be calling them and directing them to another position. You see, my brothers and sisters, as unity comes, as judgment begins at the house of Yahuah, it is not just about judging wrong to separate us from right or wrong. It is not just focused on it from that perspective. It is also focused on judging so that we can see where we're supposed to be in the scheme of things, in the scheme of this body of set apartness. Am I a toe? Am I a foot? Am I an ankle? Am I a kneecap? Am I a muscle? Am I an ear? Am I a nose? I'm using the illustration of a body, my brothers and sisters, because with each calling, with each task that the Most High has given us, we must identify what He's calling us individually and how and where we connect in the body of set apartness. I invite you to read Romans 12th chapter, Ephesians 4, and 1 Corinthians 12, and discover the living words as they relate to the gifts and callings from the Almighty Father. For this is important, my brothers and sisters, for as we are awakened to our history, and as we begin to discern what is now expected of us, and as we begin to walk forward towards our future, the need to not be distracted becomes more and more important. Time will prove moments of walking away, purging. Time will prove the need to not be distracted, to not allow ourselves to be consumed, even though we might be curious. Curiosity sometimes, my brothers and sisters, can be a dangerous thing. In the coming of days, prepare, O Yasharal, to witness the development, the molding, the shaping of individuals who will rise up and be among the 144,000 Hebrews, 12,000 Hebrews from each tribe, as mentioned in Revelation 7 chapter, along with a great multitude of many people from many nations, kindreds, and tongues. And though many people will magnify the word remnant, it indeed will be a remnant when you compare it to the population, the total population that is alive. So you can have a great multitude, and that great multitude can be a remnant. Let us seek to discern how this is so, O Yasharal. History, now, our future. Are you ready to receive balance? Pray, my brothers and sisters. Seek to discern and respond with accuracy to all that is necessary. For soon and very soon we will witness the hand of Yahuah be magnified in such a way that we have never really imagined. We may read about end time prophecies and we may say it's going to be some tough times, but are we really putting ourselves in the position of focusing and realizing that there will be pain and regret? There will be times of crying. There will be times of remorse, but there will be times of shouting hallelujah, for we will see the realities of the plan of the Most High Father become more and more clear. My brothers and sisters, There are living pointers and signs directing us into the path of improved worship and obedience to the Almighty Father Yahuah. Be encouraged. Until next time, I invite your communications, your questions, and your comments. If and only if you believe you are being led to do so. I realize it's not about me. I am just a servant. I am your brother, and I am one who seeks to do the will of the Almighty Father. And as for me, Symmanayah, I know of no other direction to turn but the direction in which the Most High is directing my footsteps. Do I stumble and fall? Indeed, that occurs. For the scriptures say the flesh will war against the spirit. I thank the Almighty Father Yahuah for the sacrifice, the atoning blood of the Lamb, Yahusha Mashiach. I thank the Almighty Father for sending his set-apart spirit in Yahusha's name to renew my mind, to give me the strength and the fortitude, to give Yasharal the strength and the fortitude, to press on, to press forward, and seek to discern all that is expected of us individually and collectively. Until next time, O set-apart family, my brothers, my sisters, I bid you much shalom.